Clint Eastwood, a titan of the silver screen whose legacy spans decades. At the age of 93, he stands as a towering figure, his career a testament to both talent and tenacity. From his humble beginnings in the 1950s to his meteoric rise to fame, Eastwood has navigated the ever-changing landscape of Tinseltown with remarkable skill. His journey from aspiring actor to Oscar-winning director is the stuff of legend, each chapter of his career marked by unforgettable performances and cinematic triumphs. But Eastwood's legacy extends far beyond the screen. He is a pioneer, a trailblazer who shattered stereotypes and defied expectations. His fearless approach to filmmaking, coupled with his unwavering commitment to storytelling, has earned him a place among the pantheon of Hollywood greats. As we delve into the life of Clint Eastwood, we uncover not just the man behind the legend, but the enduring impact of his work on the world of cinema. Join us as we celebrate the life and legacy of a true icon, a man who, at 93, continues to inspire and captivate audiences around the globe. Clint Eastwood, the iconic actor and filmmaker. Born on May 31, 1930 at St. Francis Memorial Hospital in San Francisco, the legendary actor entered the world as the son of Ruth and Clinton Eastwood Sonia. Ruth later adopted the surname Wood after marrying her second husband, John Belden Wood, following the passing of Clinton Sr. At birth, Eastwood was bestowed with the nickname Samson by hospital nurses, marveling at his robust weight of 11 pounds 6 ounces. As one of two children, he shared his childhood with a younger sister named Jean Bernhardt, boasting a diverse heritage comprising English, Irish, Scottish, and Dutch ancestry. With roots tracing back to Mayflower passenger William Bradford, Eastwood proudly represents the 12th generation born in North America. During the 1930s, Eastwood's family experienced a series of relocations due to his father's changing occupations, settling in Piedmont, California, where they enjoyed a comfortable lifestyle. Contrary to popular belief, their moves ceased between 1940 and 1949. In Piedmont, the Eastwoods flourished in an affluent neighborhood, complete with a swimming pool and membership to a country club, while each parent owned a car. Clinton Gene Eastwood's father held a prominent role as a manufacturing executive at Georgia Pacific, while Ruth later secured a clerical position at IBM as her son matured. Eastwood's educational journey was marked by ups and downs, attending Piedmont Middle School, where academic struggles resulted in him repeating a grade and attending summer school. His high school years were tumultuous, culminating in his departure from Piedmont High School after engaging in various infractions, including inappropriate actions on school property. Transferring to Oakland Technical High School, Eastwood's graduation remains a topic of speculation, with biographer Patrick McGilligan highlighting the strict legal confidentiality surrounding high school records. According to the author, Eastwood's school principal had to call his management first before deciding whether to be interviewed, and whoever answered the phone at Malpaso advised him against talking to me, and he didn't. The iconic actor's life is a roller coaster of events and a series of ups and downs, yet he still serves as an inspiration to many. But how exactly did he become so popular? Memorable military service. Before gracing the silver screen with his iconic presence, the celebrated actor had a stint in the military. In 1951, amidst the backdrop of the Korean War, Eastwood found himself drafted into the Army, embarking on a journey that would shape his life in unforeseen ways. Stationed at Fort Ord, California, Eastwood assumed the role of a swimming instructor, imparting invaluable skills to fellow servicemen. However, fate intervened in a dramatic turn of events when he became a passenger aboard a Navy AD-1Q torpedo bomber that encountered engine troubles, culminating in a harrowing crash off the California coast near Point Reyes, perilously close to his hometown of San Francisco. In a display of remarkable resilience and courage, Eastwood and the pilot navigated the treacherous waters and swam to shore, a staggering 2 miles away, braving the frigid temperatures that tested their endurance to the limit. This real-life ordeal would later serve as a haunting prelude to his portrayal of Frank Morris in the gripping 1979 film Escape from Alcatraz. wherein he depicted the daring escape from the infamous penitentiary on Alcatraz Island, navigating the icy waters of San Francisco Bay in a bid for freedom. Following his honorable discharge from the Army in 1953, Eastwood embarked on a trajectory that would propel him to international acclaim, leaving an indelible mark on the world of cinema. Rough journey to stardom. Clint Eastwood's journey to stardom was far from smooth, as he faced numerous challenges while he pursued a career in the entertainment industry. When he first embarked on his acting career, he struggled to secure roles and recognition. After demobilization from the Army, he initially worked as a lifeguard on the beach, but his ambitions took their toll. The young man went to conquer the big city and went to college in Los Angeles at the department. In parallel, he worked part-time to have something he could live on. During the day, he worked as a manager in a house in Beverly Hills, where he rented a flat, and at night he worked at a gas station. Upon the advice of his friends from the Army, Clint decided to start learning acting. As he later recalled, he was knocked out by arguments that there were the most beautiful girls among actresses. In parallel with that, Clint went to various auditions, took part in self-made theatrical performances, tried his hand at writing scripts, and pestered film companies with the hope of signing a contract. Soon, Clint met cinematographer Irvin Glassberg from Universal Studios. He invited the young man to a meeting with director Arthur Lubin at the gas station. Beautiful appearance and high growth helped the future star. He passed screen tests and signed a contract with the studio, despite his minimal acting experience. But the director did not have the best impression of the acquaintance. According to the director, he was quite amateurish. He didn't know which way to turn or which way to go or do anything. Therefore, the main condition for signing the contract was acting courses. Clint was also offered a modest payment of $100 a week, although some sources say it was $75. But that was enough to move to a new flat closer to the studio. Other aspiring Hollywood actors also lived in that house, which helped the young man to make new acquaintances. The first meeting with other studio staff members was also not very successful. On it, Clint had to pass a test to repeat the monologue of Alan Squire from the film Petrified Forest, 1936, and in one of the scenes, to be naked in front of the audience. One of the studio workers recalled him while saying that he looked like a typical hillbilly, skinny, rural, with a protruding Adam's apple, a man of few words and slow. The problem was in the appearance of the young actor. He was too handsome for a character role, but not handsome enough for a romantic hero in female films. Boys like Clint were usually used by the studio to fill the space on the screen. When they let him watch the tape from the audition, he realized that he didn't look very good. A bad reputation in the studio and a lack of experience affected the work of Eastwood. He got minor roles in low-budget films with a low honorarium. Among them were Revenge of the Creature, Francis in the Navy and Tarantula in 1955, and Away All Boats in 1956. The roles were so small that the actors had practically no lines. So in the film Revenge of the Creature, Clint had the role of an unnamed laboratory assistant who miraculously discovered a missing rat. In the film Tarantula, he was an Air Force pilot who was supposed to destroy a giant insect. In the drama Never Say Goodbye in 1956, he was given only half a minute of screen time. Despite the bad luck in his career, Eastwood managed to star in 8 projects in just 2 years. Even then, the actor's strengths appeared, a good sense of humor and an amazing influence on women, which he would use later in his career. But so far, Clint simply could not transfer those qualities to his characters. Eastwood went to a speech defect specialist to correct a feature. He spoke in a whistling whisper. Despite the efforts, it was not possible to correct the defect, but over time, it will become a kind of actor's feature. In addition, Clint took acting lessons from Jack Coslin and Jess Kimmel. The efforts brought the first success. The guy was noticed and began to receive offers for the lead roles in films. Attractive and impressive, Clint became in demand in the cinema world as a positive hero of westerns. Among them was Keith Williams in the film Ambush at Cimarron Pass, 1958. It was an adventure film about the union of soldiers and cowboys who tried to survive after the attacks of the Indians. Clint was very unhappy with the result. In a 1978 interview, he said, "It was so bad. I just kept sinking lower and lower in my seat." Considering the picture is one of the worst westerns. In the following film, The First Traveling Sales Lady, he worked with Carol Channing and hoped for success, but it failed at the box office. He got only a minor role in the film Lafayette Escadrille, which was released in 1958. Clint later recalled that they were making a lot of cheap stuff, that is, B-movies. "I always played some young lieutenant or laboratory assistant. He got lead role offers so rarely that the actor began to lose hope for a brighter future. But working with the studio was also short-lived. Universal terminated the contract with him after a year and a half. The film studio bosses argued that Clint had a wrong look. The producers especially did not like his teeth and Adam's apple. Eastwood was not prepared for that, but there was nothing he could do, and so he continued to go to auditions, train in the gym, and learn acting. When Eastwood finally got his coveted lead role, it turned out to be some low-end western that was so bad that Eastwood decided to quit. To earn money, the young man did menial jobs. He dug pits for pools, and he was a cleaner at a furniture factory. An accident saved him. Clint met with one of the directors of the Rawhide series while visiting a friend at the studio of the CBS television network. He was looking for a suitable young man for the supporting role of cowboy Rowdy Yates. Rowdy defined the actor's roles for the coming years. The pretty and good character who has principles and sticks to them. According to Clint, such a character was not very interesting to him. However, the leaders of the television network discovered a new star for themselves from the first episodes. Clint brought a new cultural appeal to the show. Strong, handsome, rough, and good at shooting and fighting, he instantly pulled a young audience into the series. Years later, the actor warmly recalled that period. Clint starred in the series for 7 years, from the first to the last episode. By the end of the first season, his $600 salary had doubled, and by the end of the series, it was already 6 numbers. The series did not become very popular but played a crucial role in the actor's life. There, Clint first paid attention to directing and began to study the film business from the inside. Young Eastwood was invited to shoot one of the episodes, which unfortunately was never realized. The contract with CBS meant that they not participate in any third-party projects. It was not until 1953 that the network loosened the reins a little after season 4 of the series began to slowly slide down. To promote him, the bosses decided to use their lead star, Clint, somewhere else. The company asked the actor to be a guest star on an episode of the popular sitcom Mr. Ed, where he played himself. He agreed on the condition that he would not wear cowboy clothes, but it was not the advertisement that Eastwood was counting on. The episode with the talking horse was as strange as all those on the show, but he proudly passed the test and silently took the money. The real success was waiting for Clint ahead, and he was again associated with the cowboy films in the cinema. His works of the following decades would form a unique image of a laconic hero of westerns and action films. The Italian director Sergio Leone noticed the actor in Rawhide. He invited Clint to his new project, A Fistful of Dollars, which was inspired by Akira Kurosawa's Yojimbo and became the beginning of the famous Dollar Trilogy. Leon looked for a textured guy for the lead role and liked Eastwood. His filming partners were supposed to be Eli Wallach and Lee Van Cleef. Clint was so disgusted with the role of the good guy from Rawhide that he agreed to Leon's offer, even on the condition that the shooting had to go to Italy and Spain, and he had to work on the series too. Many years later, director Sergio Leone noted that he approved Clint for the lead role in his films only because the actor had 2 suitable facial expressions, with a hat and without a hat. The director was struck by the actor's manner of moving slowly. During filming, the actor wore the same poncho, forbidding everyone to wash it throughout the entire period of the trilogy production. It was a kind of talisman for him. The first film, A Fistful of Dollars, was released in 1964. Although the film was accused of plagiarism in Asian countries, it was a huge success in Europe, and the USA. With a budget of $200,000, it earned $14 million and gave rise to a subgenre, spaghetti western. During the same period, Clint woke up famous. Therefore, it is not surprising that they made two sequels a few years later, for a few dollars more in 1965, and The Good, The Bad, and The Ugly in 1966. All three films were united by the figure of the protagonist, silent in a poncho, cowboy boots, a cigarillo in his mouth, and ambiguous morality. The main motive of the film is considered one of the most recognizable melodies in cinematic history. This experience became important in the actor's life. The film was so similar to the source that Sergio Leone later received a lawsuit, and no wonder the accuracy of the coincidence and details is striking. The image of a lone warrior has a similar montage rhythm and structure of action. So, fights begin with a long intense wait when the camera concentrates on every movement and look of opponents. By the way, Kurosawa won the case in court, receiving $100,000 and 15% of the box office. But it was worth it. Sergio Leone and Clint Eastwood made a breakthrough in the image of the Western genre, which by the early 60s had almost died. They created a classic Puritan hero in a hat and on a horse, who is a complex of unambiguous positive qualities and well-established clichés. Other characters throughout the trilogy come up with different names for Eastwood's character. Therefore, he is known as the man with no name in the film. In 2008, Empire selected him as the 43rd greatest cinematic character of all time. At the same time, his personal life was actively seething. A tall and well-built Eastwood has always attracted the attention of many women, and he did not miss the opportunity to use it. In the press, his name was constantly accompanied by the word womanizer. From a different perspective, Clint Eastwood has gained a notorious reputation for his involvement in multiple relationships throughout his life, which has been the subject of interest and scrutiny. His romantic life has been marked by several significant affairs and fathering children with different women. Controversies surrounded the filmmaker. The iconic actor was only 23 when he first walked down the aisle, marrying Maggie Jones in 1953. When Eastwood subsequently found fame and fortune in Hollywood, reports indicate that he was far from a faithful husband. In fact, Eastwood confessed to a biographer that he was still seeing other women while he and his future wife were dating. Before Eastwood married his first wife, Maggie Johnson, he was already involved with another woman. According to Patrick McGilligan, Eastwood's biographer, the film actor-director was involved with an unnamed young woman after he left for Seattle. He got her pregnant, but their child, a girl, was given up for adoption. It wasn't until 2018, during the premiere of Eastwood's film, The Mule, that their daughter was publicly identified. Laurie Murray, born February 11, 1954, was adopted by Clyde and Helen Warren of Seattle. According to her son, Lowell Thomas Murray IV, his biological grandmother never told Eastwood that she was pregnant and never spoke to him after the affair. Laurie was surprised when she began looking into her biological parents and found out that Eastwood was her father. But if you think the unnamed young woman was the only affair that Eastwood had during his marriage with Johnson, then you're grossly mistaken. In 1959, during the second season of Rawhide, Eastwood started a long-term affair with stuntwoman and actress Roxanne Tunis, who was then married yet separated. The couple had a daughter, Kimber, in 1964, but her existence wasn't disclosed to either Eastwood or the public until July 1989, when the National Enquirer revealed her identity. There was a lot of buzz around this affair, with Eastwood's colleagues allegedly knowing about the baby. Actress Barbara Eden, who guested once on Rawhide, also commented that Eastwood and Johnson were somewhat in an open marriage, which highlighted the actor's 1971 interview with reporter Tim Chadwick saying that they don't believe in togetherness. When the affair with Tunis finally ended, and while still married to Johnson, during the production of The Outlaw Josie Wales in Page, Arizona, Eastwood started living together with actress Sandra Locke. At the time, they were both in marriages with no real relationship. Eastwood was even reported to have said that there was nothing left between him and Johnson. On the other hand, Locke was married to her openly gay best friend, Gordon Anderson, but it was a marriage of convenience which was never consummated. Their lives were similar to two puzzle pieces that oddly fit together. Eastwood confessed to Locke that he was astonished by his need for her, despite never being able to be faithful to one woman. The actor even shamelessly made up a song about it, which he called "She Made Me Monogamous." It was definitely unlike his past affairs, even with his reported 14-year-long relationship with Tunis. The two didn't have any children, but they aborted twice, and Locke had her tubal ligation during the late 1970s. The unsettling part is that even when they were cohabiting, Eastwood was still discreetly keeping up several maintenance relationships. Unsurprisingly, their relationship slowly disintegrated after Eastwood had finally divorced Johnson, but Locke remained married to Anderson. According to Locke, she would have been willing to divorce Anderson if Eastwood had agreed to couples therapy with her, but he didn't. They had an ugly breakup in 1989 when Locke sued Eastwood for palimony after the alleged changing of the locks of their home and removing all of her belongings. They settled, but she obviously didn't have enough as she filed suit again in 1995 for fraud, which they settled out of court. That's not all. The legendary actor had a very private affair with Jocelyn Reeves, a flight attendant, while he was still living with Sondra Locke. He fathered 2 children with her, a son named Scott in 1986, and a daughter named Catherine in 1986, and a daughter named Catherine in 1988. Their affair was only exposed in 1990 when an article was published in the Star tabloid about it. There was also the actress Frances Fisher, whom Eastwood first met on the set of Pink Cadillac in 1988. The two had a non-exclusive intermittent affair for 2 years before they went public. The couple shared a daughter, Francesca, who was born in 1993. They ended their relationship in 1995 due to issues on Eastwood's side. Apparently, his controversies weren't just about women. Clint Eastwood also faced significant controversy in the realm of politics when he directed the film American Sniper. The film came under heavy fire and lightning from some viewers who believed it was meant to glorify war. The criticism around the movie was quite intense, sparking heated debates. In his response to the criticisms, the director made conscious efforts to defend his film in various interviews, but his explanations didn't sway his critics in the least. He emphasized that the film had nothing to do with any political party or agenda, and he sought to portray the experiences of professional soldiers, Navy personnel, and others who serve for specific reasons. Essentially, Eastwood aimed to depict the realities of those who make the difficult choice to go to war. One of the key points of content attention was the portrayal of the sharpshooter, Chris Kyle, who was the central character in American Sniper and was played by Bradley Cooper. Kyle had expressed extremist views, such as referring to the enemy as savages and despicably evil. This led some audiences to believe that the film celebrated Kyle's views. Unmoved by the criticisms, he argued that the film's vision was simply misunderstood by the people. He asserted that he was against war and did not support violence. He stressed the importance of careful consideration when it comes to matters of war and conflict, emphasizing that self-protection is crucial for nations. However, he made it clear that he didn't like to see war and violence. In spite of the controversy and differing interpretations of the films, Eastwood clearly intended to shed light on the complexities and sacrifices involved in military service, rather than promote any particular political or ideological stance. Eastwood has been the subject of criticism. Eastwood faced heavy criticism from thousands of fans online who believed he had officially endorsed then U.S. President Donald Trump. While he had made favorable comments about Trump in the past, he had not given an official endorsement. This led to confusion and public debate regarding his political stance. Things got so bad that in 2019, Eastwood became the subject of a viral meme that falsely quoted him as endorsing Trump with the statement, "I am endorsing Mr. Trump for president." However, Eastwood never made such a statement. In 2016, he did express a preference for Trump over Hillary Clinton, but ultimately chose not to endorse any candidate. In 2020, Eastwood shifted his support to Democratic hopeful Michael Bloomberg, stating the best thing we could do was just get Mike Bloomberg in there. He also acknowledged supporting some of Trump's actions but disapproving of his behavior, particularly online. Clint Eastwood's foray into politics and his shifting opinions have made him a subject of public scrutiny, with his words and sentiments often being misconstrued and misrepresented in various contexts. In Patrick McGilligan's book, Clint, The Life and Legend, the author presented a less than flattering portrayal of Clint Eastwood. The iconic actor and filmmaker, according to McGilligan, was depicted as someone who had an insatiable desire for control and was willing to take extreme measures to maintain that control. One prominent aspect of this portrayal was Eastwood's reputation for being a figure who would terminate contracts with employees if he believed they were undermining his authority. This image of Eastwood as a controlling and domineering figure was reinforced by statements attributed to individuals who had worked with him. One ex-producer, for example, was quoted as saying if they ever called a meeting of all the people that Clint has screwed over, they'd have to hold it in the Los Angeles Coliseum. This statement suggests that there were numerous instances where Eastwood's actions or decisions had negatively impacted those around him. However, it's important to note that Eastwood himself vehemently disagreed with this assessment. In an interview with CBS News, when asked whether he sought to be in control all the time, he refuted the idea. He explained that he did not pursue total control because he genuinely appreciated the participation of everyone involved in his projects. He cited his involvement as a producer and director in the film Million Baby and his contribution to the film score as examples of his collaborative approach. Success outside Hollywood. During his time serving in the U.S. Army at Fort Ord, Clint Eastwood developed a keen interest in real estate in the Carmel area. Using his earnings from his burgeoning acting career, he made significant investments in the region, acquiring parcels of land that would shape his legacy beyond Hollywood. On December 24, 1967, Eastwood made his first notable purchase, acquiring 5 parcels totaling 283 acres of land along Highway 1 near Malpaso Creek, south of the Carmel Highlands. In a joint venture with fellow actor James Garner, he expanded his holdings in May 1968, purchasing an additional 340 acres of wooded land in Carmel Valley from the Howard Hatton estate. The duo generously donated undeveloped portions of their property to the Housing Authority of the County of Monterey in November 1983, with the stipulation that it be used for senior housing, demonstrating their commitment to community welfare. Eastwood named his production company Malpaso Productions in homage to the area. Further expanding his real estate footprint, Eastwood acquired more land in the Highlands, totaling 650 acres. In a significant move in 1995, he sold the Malpaso land to Monterey County for $3.08 million with the condition of placing a permanent conservation easement on the property. With the proceeds from this sale, he purchased the 134-acre Ordello Ranch, where he undertook extensive flood mitigation efforts to protect his Mission Ranch resort and neighboring residential areas. In a gesture of environmental stewardship, Eastwood and his former wife Maggie Johnson donated a substantial portion of the Ordello Ranch property to the Big Sur Land Trust in 1997, securing its preservation for future generations. Subsequent acquisitions included the Canada Woods development, totaling 550 acres. Eastwood's California real estate holdings also include a lavish 15,949 square foot compound in Carmel by the Sea, constructed when he was 80 years old in 2010. Additionally, he owns properties in Bel Air, Sun Valley, Idaho, and Kihei, Hawaii, showcasing his diverse portfolio and cosmopolitan lifestyle. Despite humble beginnings, Clint Eastwood's entrepreneurial spirit and visionary investments have solidified his status as not only a legendary actor, but also a savvy and successful real estate mogul. His legacy extends far beyond the glitz and glamour of Hollywood, leaving an indelible mark on the landscapes he has touched. How do you feel about Clint Eastwood's decisions throughout his life? This is the time for you to express your personal feelings. Thanks for watching. Dive into another engaging video by clicking the link on your screen now.